Niners fans, how we doing? Those faithful to the Bay, those Niners faithful. How we feeling on this Monday? Probably some mixed emotions, right? Probably some mixed emotions. This is going to be your 49ers news and notes. Going to talk about the Cardinals game. Going to talk about the Nick Bosa injury. And let's get to it. Let's just start. Let's not gild the lily any further, right? Let's rock and roll. So, the San Francisco 49ers are 3-0. Wonderful start. Beautiful start. Behind a game-winning kick, field goal. Yeah, a kick. I know. A Niners field goal kicker won the game for the team by Eddie Pinheiro. We love it. The Niners they won 16-15, and we love it. Great opening at Levi's. Here are some of my standout players for the Niners. So then we're going to go a few standout players, maybe some things that they need improvement on, and then, of course, we'll get to the Nick Bosa news. I got to start with Big Mac Jones. Big Mac Jones right there. What a baller. 284 yards and a touchdown. And can we just say, in that fourth quarter comeback, that last drive, on a bum knee on that. So Mac Jones re-sprained his PCL at a point later in that game yesterday, played it out and still won. What gut, what grit by Mac Jones. And I'll tell you what, Mac Jones, Brock Purdy, and I know this is it's not random because he won't play this season, maybe or next season, right? But Curtis Rourke, remember the name, quarterback Curtis Rourke. He's actually a member of the Niners. I believe that Jones, Purdy, and Rourke is a Super Bowl winning quarterback room. I believe that the Niners will have no trouble. When we're talking about quarterbacks, when it comes to the ball handler of the team, I believe that those three guys as a quarterback room, I believe can take you to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. And how great is that to hear? How great is that for Niners? I think that we sort of knew that, the fact that Brock Purdy helped the Niners to a Super Bowl, like his rookie season or something, right? But Jones I love the weight that he puts on the ball. I didn't love his interception. However, he's definitely going to have this. I'm telling you, C-Train is telling the audience, the amazing audience right now, I guarantee that Mac Jones will throw a few bad balls a game, and one of them may be picked off. It happens. And I can tell you this, I can almost say the same thing. Brock Purdy does that once in a while as well. Throws some really, it looks like Jimmy Garoppolo's back there, not in the good way, right, Niners fans? So I think that the Niners can be incredibly confident moving forward with that quarterback room, and that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. So Ricky Pearsall, though, let's go to those receivers, right? 8 receptions, 117 yards. Ricky Pearsall has emerged as one of the more talented receivers in the NFC West. I really want to go for the whole NFL, but I can't go there yet. In terms, I know my NFC West receivers, right? And there's some great ones. Puka's up there, right? Ricky Pearsall, he made so many tough grabs. It was the degree of difficulty on Ricky Pearsall's catches that I love so much. And this is why. Adding on to it, they weren't Brandon Lloyd degree of difficulty catches. What am I talking about? The Niners had a receiver now, seriously, probably 20 years ago. I'm an old man. 20 years ago or so, named Brandon Lloyd. And he'd make these amazing acrobatic catches. However, this is serious. Brandon Lloyd didn't get separation as a receiver, so many of those catches had to be acrobatic, amazing catches. Different with Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall is getting opened and also making incredibly high degree of difficulty catches. His fingertip snag on third down was amazing. His over-the-shoulder catch, hearkening Willie Mays on that 4th and 2, magisterial. Ricky Pearsall, knock on wood, y'all, because a healthy Ricky Pearsall, moving forward, you put Brandon Ayuk into the mix, Juwan Jennings, then you go George Kittle a little bit, you garnish that with DeMarcus Robinson, who's fresh off of his suspension, and you have a very, very, very promising wide receiver room. Incredibly promising. I like what the Niners are doing. I like what the Niners are doing. just all over the field. They're a good-looking team. They're playing some good football right now. So, and that's behind just a standout Ricky Pearsall performance. Amazing. Christian McCaffrey, 52 yards rushing, 88 yards receiving. Here's the thing. I absolutely love what Christian McCaffrey brings to the table, okay? However, here's the one thing. He's had more touches than any other Niner in Niner history over his first 3 games. Kyle Shanahan and the offensive coaches need to formulate a game plan where Christian McCaffrey isn't depended on so much. And here's and here's what you could do. Here's like a theory. For example, when go Brian Robinson on a couple carries. Give Brian Robinson more than like the 2 carries that he got last game. He's averaging a good amount. It's either almost 5 yards of carries. He's doing well this year, Brian Robinson. We got to sprinkle in a little bit of more of that power behind Christian McCaffrey's brilliance, because I do not think that Christian McCaffrey can keep up this pace. I think that the Niners need to really think about how many touches this man's getting, and they need to get that under control, okay? Because it's like, I understand. Christian McCaffrey will bail you out of almost every situation on offense, right? He can run the ball. He can receive the ball out of the backfield. You can't depend on him that much, though. I love what he's doing, but I would love for them to sprinkle in a little bit more Brian Robinson. And also, once Jordan James gets healthy into the offense, I think that he can really be a spark plug as well. But even this, out of those shotgun and one back formations, even put like when he's healthy, knock on wood, like a Jordan Watkins, a wide receiver in there to receive out of the backfield. And it's like Watkins has a little bit of running experience in between the tackles. But you do that, right? You flare out like how they would do with Richie James. You get a wide receiver or a stud, a versatile player, and you can flare them out of the backfield. You don't have to do it with Christian McCaffrey every single time. Got to mitigate his touches, y'all. I'm telling you, like he's taking a lot of hits, and you just can't have that. You really need to taper it over the whole duration of the season. So, 49ers offensive line, despite some hiccups, but despite Dominic Poone's hold in the end zone, they held up for the most part. As evidenced, Mac Jones only took 1 sack, right? He only took 1 sack. That's good enough. Colt McKivitz props, he pulled on one running play, he pulled from that right tackle position downfield, had a great downfield little mauling block on the defensive back. We love to see that. We love to see that initiative by Colt McKivitz. And easy Eddie Money Pinheiro was taking, ooh, take me home tonight. I don't want to let you go. Whew. Eddie Pinheiro, well done. Game-winning field goal, 3 of 3 on his field goals, I believe. Eddie was on the money today. Let's go to the defense. These guys are dogs. Dogs, D-A-W-G-S. Dogs in the best way and connotation. Amazing performance by the defense. It's already head and shoulders above last season's defense. D. Winters and Fred Warner are they the best linebacking duo in the NFL? I will not argue if you say that right now, an informed Fred Warner and D. Winters is the number 1 linebacking crew in the NFL. We're looking for more turnovers. I think that they can get more turnovers right now. So solid. 19 tackles between the 2 of them last game. I love it. I absolutely love it. Upton Stout's already making big-time plays. Great pass breakup late in the 4th quarter. Upton Stout he's making, here's the thing. He's made multiple plays now down the field. I was so afraid of his downfield abilities. A little bit shorter. He's got the long arms. I was afraid with him running with wide receivers in the open field. He's able to do it. He's already a stud. Everything in front of him. He's an incredible player in the opponent's backfield. I love what Upton Stout brings to this squad. Actually, let me elaborate on that a little bit. So I would rather have Upton Stout right there in that nickel position rather than Jair Brown. Jair Brown is misstepping a few and he's still misstepping, and I'll talk about that a little bit later when I get to maybe a negative or 2 on the play. Michael Williams, Niners rookie Mykel Williams is already a baller. To be that young and to be able to make plays all over the line. So he's making plays defensive tackle when he's double teamed, tackling players in the backfield. He's setting the perimeter as a defensive end. He's pass rushing as a defensive end. To be able to be that versatile and that young, Mykel Williams is lining up to be an incredibly special player in the NFL. And he's one of those players on defensive line that you love because of the versatility. He's like a baller. You just love those straight up ballers on the defensive line. Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs really reminds me of that, of like a baller. Just a dude who you put on the defensive line and he'll make plays. Bryce Huff is putting in Bryce Huff, well done. I think he was the highest rated Niners player, defensive player. Great pressure on Kyler Murray, and he was able to get him down once for a sack. We love it. A few worries with the defense. I mean, that's okay. It's like a little worried about Renardo Green downfield. He seems to get spatially lost downfield sometimes on those deep throws. You got to find the ball, and you have to know where you are. Because if you don't find the ball and you don't go for it, a receiver can just run into you and they'll get the penalty. They'll get the flag. Almost like what happened, right? So he's got to find the ball and he's got to know where his receiver is. Spatial awareness is Renardo Green's key from becoming good to great. Jair Brown as well. He's got great measurables. I like Jair Brown's potential still, but he got lost in the shuffle. So like he overplayed a few plays yesterday. He got lost in the shuffle. By that, I mean like there were a few running plays that were like to the left, or just a few running plays, okay, that were like away from the screen, from the TV screen. I know that sounds funny. They were up the field instead of towards. Anyways, Jair Brown, like he allowed himself to like just get lost in it. Like nobody was actually blocking him, yet he didn't make a play and just sort of dilly-dallied. I don't love what I see from Jair Brown, and I think that teams will start to focus in on that, and I think it'll start next week with the Jaguars. So remember that I said that. The Niners can mitigate that by putting Upton Stout in those nickel positions, right? So then the safeties will be Siegel and Pinnock until Malik Mustafa gets healthy. Your nickel will be Upton Stout. So, and it's like, I get it. Jair Brown is better measurables than Upton Stout, but it's like Upton Stout's a baller. He's making plays. He's making plays in front of him and downfield. Now for the elephant, the bear in the room. Nick Bosa has a torn ACL. Yeah, tore his ACL. So that's 3 ACL tears in right around 10 years for Nick Bosa. Devastating. His season is over. We've already, that has been established. Nick Bosa's season is officially over. Gutted for the team. Tough. This is a huge shot to their championship hopes. Like, I think, in my opinion, in my opinion, it's too early to tell for anything. You just never know. You never know in the NFL with how injuries go, with how everything goes, right? It's too early to tell, but this is like a gigantic hit to their Super Bowl hopes. I think that, like, this sounds weird, but it's like, I think that they will be able to eventually sort of form a game plan and eventually get the personnel to help assuage, to soothe the loss of Bosa, but you cannot make up for it. There's nobody out there who they can get other than Myles Garrett, who is as good as Nick Bosa. Like, seriously, there's nobody out there. So, huge loss, devastating, hoping for just a happy recovery, a happy and healthy freaking recovery for Nick Bosa. Seriously, because that's devastating. That's a good amount of injuries for Bosa. He's getting banged up now over the years, right? 2 ACLs, that core injury. It stopped him at Ohio State as well, so difficult. What do the Niners do? What do the Niners do out of that? What's their next move? I think a trade may take some time. They will definitely make a move. They'll sign somebody or trade for somebody. Absolutely. I do not think that they'll just deal with this in-house. Okay, so, let's put this out in a few ways. If the Niners win next week, I think that they'll be less aggressive, actually, in trying to trade. for a player because they've stacked the wins exactly like I said was so necessary. The Niners stacked wins, incredibly necessary, and they've done it. So if they can stack one more, I think they'll be less aggressive because they'll have a little bit of cushion. However, the Niners in the next 3 weeks have the Jaguars, Bucks, and Rams. If the Niners lose this next week with the Bucks and Rams on tap, I think they'll be pressed to make a move. I think they have a new defensive end before those latter two games. Big game coming up again, right? Who's out there? It's already been stated. I'm more of that thought process, actually. It's been rumored around there. I'm more of the thought process that they'll have to have a few players who are a few available players. Trey Hendrickson, I don't think he's available right now. The Bengals. Bengals are 2-1. I think that they will have to lose multiple games for Hendrickson to be available. He can make up for Nick Bosa by himself, though, darn near. He's another player that can. He's good. Bradley Chubb from the Dolphins. I really like Chubb. I think he'll be available sooner rather than later. We'll see. We'll see. Danielle Hunter. Make some sense of the Texans. Make some sense. Kayvon Thibodeau is a dude who can really, I think he can bring some menace to the Niners defensive line. He's young. He's really athletic. He plays for the Giants. I think there's a trade to be had there, but it's too early. I think it's just too early. The good news is I talked about how the Niners need to stack wins. They stacked wins. Huge blow to the team, but they're still looking good all around. It's a team game. Don't stop believing 49ers faithful. That's my message to you this week. In the comments below, though, who would you want to see the Niners sign or trade for? What defensive end would you want to see the Niners, defensive player, in Nick Bosa's stead, would you like to see the Niners acquire? Hey, can I acquire a few new subscribers by pressing that like, follow, subscribe button, right? Hey, I'm just messing, but thank you for watching. And of course, for your 49ers content, like, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you next time at C-Train Station. Please let me know in the comments, though, what defensive player is looking good to you. You think it could possibly, be acquired. Have a good one. Take care. Go Niners.